going on, everybody? It's been a long minute, and moving will do that to you. But hey, it's the old Weeb. We're back at it again. And today we're talking about an interesting topic, I think, and it's that what is the impact having a generational, if not legendary opening can have on your legacy when it comes to the anime community? Let's get into it. And what I mean by that is if there's a lot of animes that people have heard of but never even seen, purely from the fact of their opening songs are super iconic. And that is something to be aspired to in how anime as a media is consumed two ways, through manga or through the anime. And the idea that you could be popular enough that not only does your story not need to be mentioned, your characters not need to be mentioned, just the rhythmic beat of your opening, the sound of the singer can just inspire and draw people to your story off of that alone. Some famous examples in recent memories would be, of course, Mashle Season 2's opening. You have Attack on Titan Season 4 with the rumbling. Fire Force of Inferno. JJK with You Are My Special. Songs on top of these shows being fantastic are amazing. I'm sure many of you guys who are anime fans who follow me and have followed me for enough time to know you have anime playlists. You put songs together. Heck, for the most part, I judge animes entirely based on their opening. As if the opening's not fire, I'm not gonna watch it. And that might be just weird for me, but that's what I do. And I haven't been wrong since. But like, that kind of is a surface level thinking about this when it comes to it, and that's kind of why I wanted to go in deeper and thinking about what does it mean when you hear these songs. Because I remember a friend of mine who's more musically gifted than myself mentioned the point that music has the ability to always bring us back to when we first heard it, or if that song has some kind of emotional or sentimental value to it. And there are some OPs that kind of bring me back to, you know, younger times as an anime fan, or just younger times in general. It's kind of like how I remember the Naruto, like, English openings. Like, those bring me back to the Toonami weekends, and those were probably the most thing to look forward to during like 5th, 6th, 7th grade, was watching all those shows. And also reminds me of how, when looking back at some of the animations that go into these openings, there's some openings that are made purely where it's like, sure, they spoil a lot in the opening. A lot of people want to avoid openings for that reason. But sometimes I think that the visual appeal to seeing music play into the animation makes it 10 times better. There's a reason why MTV was so popular for decades, is because sure, we all love hearing good music, but a music video can make a song go even bigger. Heck, I was just discussing this with my girlfriend not too long ago, who hasn't watched a lot of music videos, but there's a lot of particular artists and songs that I have found purely through the fact of looking through music videos during like the early 2010s, where I would hear of a certain song and just go look up the music video. I want to see what it was all about. And of course, a lot of people don't always watch music videos, which I think is kind of insane, only because I'm more of a visual learner and a visual, I guess, aesthetic pleaser. I don't know how to phrase that. But when it comes down to it, I believe that visually seeing something is always better than just hearing it. I never was a great, listener growing up. I always like to see what I'm doing, see what I'm enjoying. But the way I look at it nowadays is that a lot of so much anime that has to like pierce the gigantic veil of seasonal anime. If you're not already someone who's established in the scene, like a Demon Slayer or a JJK or Jobless Reincarnation, like you have to kind of bring yourself to the forefront. And it reminds me of an anime from last year, which I think should have been, and I don't know if it did win Anime of the Year, which was Zom 100. And Zom 100, for its plot, well, for those who haven't seen it, is about a dude who's worked for a Japanese company, dead-end job since he graduated, and he was essentially blindsided with the reality of the cruel work conditions that were reflective of the Japanese culture. And therefore, when a zombie apocalypse happens 3 years after he started working there, his first immediate response when he saw what was happening was, I can finally have a day off. And let me tell you, that was felt. But the important thing to note is that the opening to this anime is an absolute banger. For those who are super familiar with this band, is the legendary band behind Naruto's most famous opening 16 Silhouette. And I can almost hear him exactly when I heard the song for the first time. Like, I recognize this voice, I recognize this band. Which I think is kind of also a unique thing, is that for someone who's non-Japanese, fully, I am part Japanese, I could still figure out voices and identify them through another language, which I think is really cool. And the fact that the music there is so good, I've, again, added it to my playlist. I playlist to this song maybe once every other day while driving. And given that, you know, because Crunchyroll has this thing where every season they roll out all their trailers leading into the next anime season, seeing this anime trailer had the song in it, was now, of course, interest was piqued to make sure that was the opening. And the point I'm making here is that when it comes to how great your opening is, that just puts you on the map. It even happened with Demon Slayer. Sure, Demon Slayer is all the hype right now, deservedly so from its animation, but with Lisa, the singer of the OP from season 1, who's also the singer from Sword Art Online Crossing Field to the first song, it just brings a level of pizzazz and gravitas to a show when an iconic singer or band is joining into a show. It's also like how Flow, another iconic Japanese band who's done Go, otherwise known as Fighting Dreamers, and alongside with Code Geass of Colors. These songs just immediately bring you back to different moments of when you first experienced them. And then there's, of course, Sasageo, Linked Horizon, the people behind Attack on Titan Season 2, which is the best opening in the entire series, Fight Me, I Dare You, when it comes to how that song has such a cultural impact on the anime community that to this day, you will have people in anime conventions and gatherings that if you start playing the beats of this song, people will stop, get their attention, put their hand over their heart, and position the pose. That's just how powerful that song is. And again, Attack on Titan, of course, will be remembered for more than just simply having great songs, but it's the songs that kind of entrench itself into the community. Like another song, Unravel, but for Tokyo Ghoul. I personally hate this song. I think it's overplayed, super pitchy, but there's a majority of people who tend to love it, and that has, again, given it some staying power, and why people still kind of wish that it was, quote, not done dirty, and it should get a remake of some kind, because they feel like they kind of deviated from what the story was about. Not my fight for that one. Didn't care. But I will give it its credit that it is a very well-known and iconic anime opening, which has led to its survivability into now, when the anime came out over 10 years ago. And speaking of old animes of super staying power based on their song, Neon Genesis Evangelion just is viewed as the gold standard when it comes to super iconic and defining anime openings of all time. I think the fact that it's an over now 30 plus year show, and still to this day gets referenced and talked about, mostly because of that opening, on top of course the ending. Just shows you how monumental a song could be to the community. And now another funny bit that I think comes to the ancient songs or older anime is a song that we all know for those who woke up at like 3 in the morning. We have Fuko Mori. I'm definitely butchering that, but you guys know it as the Inuyasha ending 2, with Shishomaru in the graveyard of his father, just staring at him as he contemplates life. And it's such a moment that we all can immediately call back to when the first time you heard that, waking up from a Friday or Saturday night, you stayed up really, really late, and you just woke up at 3 or 2 in the morning. Your next thing you know, you're like, what is that playing? And that's the core of this discussion, in that the power of music has never been more felt than in the anime community. And I think that should be something that gets talked about a bit more, because I only know one prominent YouTuber who does that, and that's the Anime Pope, who's a big inspiration in what I do. And he used to go every year glowingly reviewing what his mind was best OP of the year. In fact, his whole series of what is an OP sort of inspired this talking point. And I think that Mashlow's opening also has been playing rent-free in my head for the last like 4 or 5 months. They maybe want to talk about this, and what other great legendary anime OPs and ending songs live rent-free in your head. Catch you later, guys. GG's.